The second major setback occurred on June 23rd, when the Department of Education published its intent to gut Title IX protections for women and girls. That the DOE did so on the 50th anniversary of that landmark civil rights legislation, and that it presents this evisceration of our rights as something to celebrate, adds insult to injury. Title IX reads in part, and I quote, "No person in the United States shall, on the basis of sex, be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any education program or activity receiving federal financial assistance." The Obama administration and now the Biden administration have used executive orders to bypass the legislative process and further implement the gender identity agenda. Biden's Executive Order 13988, preventing and combating discrimination on the basis of gender identity or sexual orientation, required all federal agencies to review their policies, regulations, and guidances to determine what revisions should be made to prevent sex discrimination. Because the emergency order does not treat sex, sexual orientation, and gender identity as distinct categories, and instead collapses all three into the category sex, the order obliterates the sex-based rights of women and girls and erases the very meaning of sexual orientation. As does Biden's Executive Order 14021, guaranteeing an educational environment free from discrimination on the basis of sex, including sexual orientation or gender identity, which more specifically references Title IX and applies the same harmful legal fiction that Emergency Order 13988 does. The U.S. Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights first issued a notice of interpretation explaining that it would enforce Title IX's prohibition on discrimination on the basis of sex to include discrimination based on sexual orientation and discrimination based on gender identity a year ago. And on June 23rd, in commemoration of 50 years of protecting and advancing the rights of all students, it issued a press release that opens with the following paragraph. "Today, in celebration of the 50th anniversary of Title IX, the landmark civil rights law that has opened doors for generations of women and girls, the U.S. Department of Education released for public comment proposed changes to the regulations that help elementary and secondary schools and colleges and universities implement this vital legislation. The proposed amendments will restore crucial protections for students who are victims of sexual harassment, assault, and sex-based discrimination. The proposed regulation will advance educational equity and opportunity for women and girls across the country to ensure that every student in America, from kindergarten through a doctorate degree, can achieve her dreams." This blatant mockery could not possibly be further from the truth. What the proposed regulations actually mean is that the right of women and girls in the U.S. to be free of sex discrimination in the educational arena is gone because men and boys can be recognized as women and girls under federal law. As many of the speakers argued at last week's rally in D.C., these proposed rule changes would lead to women and girls being denied the very opportunities Title IX was designed to protect.